Okay, so today was college orientation day, which meant I had to drive like almost 4 hours up to my son's college. And then he's a transfer student, right? And so we drive up there for 4 hours while he slept. Of course, had to be there at 8 o'clock in the morning. Child, that is too early in the morning, especially when you coming from 4 hours away. So we left at 4 o'clock in the morning. I drove up there and then he slept the whole way. And then I got there and then I slept for 8 hours and listened to very useful information about the school. And then I had to drive another 4 hours home. Well, you know what that means. I had plenty of time to listen to podcasts. And the podcast I listened to has changed my life and blown my mind. Let me tell you what happened. This podcast was called OPL, Other People's Lives. And it's when people get on this podcast and they anonymously tell things that they have done in their lives. And you know, I was leaning in because I want to hear every single thing about the secret little nasty things you be sneaking around and doing in your life. This particular episode was about married straight men who have affairs with other men. Now listen, I am a queer deer from way back in the day. Way back in the day. I've been a queer deer so long, honey, we didn't call it that when I was, we can't be using them words now. But you know, I used to be the F slur hag. You know what I'm talking about. Anyway, so look, gay people, those are my people. That's my family because look, I'm from Indiana, right? And when I was from Indiana, I was a big mouth broad. Now listen, I'm supposed to be like quiet and retiring. And I was supposed to go to college and find myself a husband and learn how to cook and learn how to sew and be like the perfect surrendered wife. And I was going to have an empty head and my husband was going to fill it up with all the thoughts I was supposed to have. Well, here's the thing. I had thoughts of my own and I was just like, excuse me, sucker. I will have my own thoughts and then you will fall in line or you will not fall in line, honey, because my pronoun is goddess and you better recognize. So, I did not blend, but you know where I did blend? Over in the theater department with all the gay boys. Only I didn't know they were gay boys. I thought they were straight boys. Some of them thought they were straight boys too, child. They got set straight. But because I was so loving and open and wonderful, that I had all these boyfriends, which now, 30 years later, they're all gay men. But back in 1988, when they was my boyfriend, they was just cute boyfriends who really were concerned with honoring me and protecting my virtue. Well, let me tell you something. As a 19-year-old, I did not want my virtue honored. No, I was really trying very hard to give away my virtue. In fact, I was like, could you be a little less respectful? You can diddle my kibbles and bits and I'm not going to be mad about it. But they were just like, no, I want to honor you. But also keep in mind, this is Indiana where everybody was pretending to be extra religious. Everybody was pretending like, I'm only taking the pill to monitor my cycle. Well, I didn't even need to take the pill because none of the dudes I was around was trying to touch my kibbles and bits. It was very upsetting. So look, I dated all these boys and then they were more interested in kissing each other than they were interested in kissing me. And when my longtime boyfriend told me he was bisexual, child, now he's gay. But at the time, he was like, I'm bisexual. And I was like, I think that's a gateway drug, but okay, fine. I still love you. But I was like, I was not worried about it because I knew that my love would make him straight. Like you do. So, cut to is 30 some odd years later, right? And I have a plethora of gay friends and family. Fine. Not like biological family of choice. Because when your real mama stops speaking to you, well then, honey, I'm just your mama. If you gay and you don't have a good relationship with your mama, I'm your new mama. I'm just going to let you know. But look, there is a subset of couples. Now, I'm long time married to a very straight man. He really likes all my kibbles and bits and diddles them as often as possible. Praise God. Anyway, you know the marriage bed is undefiled. But look, in this episode of OPL, Other People's Lives, this dude gets on the telephone and they disguise his voice. And he's like, yes, I am a straight man and I love my wife. I've been married for 25 years, but periodically and from time to time, my wife doesn't know I get together with other married men. First of all, no. No. And they were like, do you consider yourself bisexual? He was like, no, I enjoy the love of a woman. But sometimes if you're real thirsty, you just need to take a little drink of water. And so he was telling this whole story. Now listen, this man who got on this podcast and was telling his story, he was super, super into spilling his secret. You know how when you've been keeping a secret for a real long time, I don't know nothing about that keeping a secret for a long time life, but sometimes when you've kept a secret for a real long time, you just exploding to get it out. He was exploding to get it out. And he was willing to give all kinds of details. Honey, all the elaborate planning and stuff that he went to, he was like, oh, this is just my male friend. I work from home. He's very successful. His wife is very successful. They've raised beautiful children. They have grown children now. And he's like, I couldn't come out if I wanted to. I love my wife and I would never want to embarrass her or anything. But also my children have very high profile jobs and they're high profile people and I would never want to embarrass them. And so, but he's also of an age category where men, you know, back 30, 40 years ago, they did not come out. They were like, look, I'm going to get this nice wife who's a beard and I'm never going to come out. This is the part that is blowing my mind. First of all, there's a couple that I know. And I'm not going to name no names and I'm not going to give any identifying details. But it has been clear to me for a long time that that is a lavender marriage. Now, what is a lavender marriage, honey? A lavender marriage is a marriage where, now, this is what you have to know. Because I dated so many gay men for so long, my gaydar is excellent. Excellent. Honey, I can spot a homosexual woman or man at 10,000 paces. I just feel it in my spirit. Back in the day when I was in college, we used to say that we had gaydar, right? Me and all my little queen friends. And so if you saw a man walk by that you suspected was gay, you would say your gaydar went off and you would be like, beep, 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 beep. When you saw a gay man go by, especially a gay man who was passing it straight, because some of those deers, honey, they cannot pass it straight, but some of them very clearly can. But even if they pass it, honey, in my head, I'm like, beep. So anyway, there are these two dudes that ride the bus in the morning. Now, look, you know I live in North Jersey. I'm over here in the suburbs, but I commute into the city. So there are these two men who were friends, right? Neighborhood friends, suburban man friends. I see this all the time. Oh, this one and their wives get together and you know each other, whatever. And most of them are straight. But because I have excellent gaydar, it is very, very clear to me that these two men are gay. And for years, I've been commuting into the city from the suburbs for like 20 years now, right? For years, I assumed these men were a couple. Well, relatively recently, I realized not only that are they not a couple, they each have, now look, they live in my neighborhood because I see them on the local bus. But when they see each other, you can see the love in their eyes. You ever see a couple where you're just like, that's such a cute couple. Oh my goodness, that's so sweet. These two men, now listen, you get on the bus in the morning, sometimes it's not seats. They will move heaven and earth to sit together. They just light up when they see each other. But here's the thing. Each of them has their own family. Okay, cool. Both of them are ethnic men. Now, I have told you, I live in maybe I didn't tell you, I live in a very, very, very ethnically diverse place. Lots and lots of people in my neighborhood speak other languages. Not just one language. It's not uncommon to have people speak 2, 3, 4 languages. Homes in other countries. My neighbor across the street has a home in Greece. He has a home here. Me, we just have this home child. I'm trying to keep this mortgage paid. I drive a very, very basic Corolla and I love every minute of it. We real regular over here, right? And a lot of the people around me are real regular. We just nice suburban people who go to the Stop and Shop and get our food and go work in the city, have our regular lives. But it is very clear to me that these two men, super gay. And so when they go on fishing trips and stuff, I know what you be doing on that fishing trip. Hello, Brokeback Mountain. But it ain't none of my business. And so you know you ain't heard none of this from me. But here's the thing. I know a lady who's very, very religious. Oh, she's holy and sanctified. You can't tell her nothing. And she has a good husband and she works very, very hard on her marriage. And she always wants to tell you about the love of the Lord. That is beautiful. And how hard she works on her marriage. Her husband is gay as a Easter parade. Honey, this boy queers a $3 bill. He's very choir director. You know the ones, Mr. Choir Director. And I said to another friend of mine, are we just not discussing the fact that she's in a lavender marriage? Now, this half of them fell out. She's like, oh my God, how you gonna call it a lavender marriage? And I was like, are we all blind? Her husband swishes into the room and is like, girl, listen. And then when the kids were little, he wanted to talk to you all about breastfeeding and all this other stuff. And the other ladies at the church are very, very jealous of her husband because he's wonderful to her. He's so good to her. He's so sweet. And I think that is beautiful. But also, I'm looking at him like, I am deafened by the beeping that is going off because the gaydar is next level. And so part of me wonders, this dude who called into the podcast, OPL, Other People's Lives, is that the husband of this lady that I know? Y'all. Now look. Am I going to call this man out? No. Was his voice described? Yes, absolutely it was. And some of the details that he gave about his life did not exactly match up. But the amount of time he'd been married matched. He didn't give any demographic information. You couldn't tell from the voice distortion like his race or his class necessarily. Based on the manner in which he speaks, you could tell he was educated. His wife is educated. They do well. That's all great. Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. Y'all. This is the thing that put it over the edge for me. And now I'm telling tales out of school. But this is just me and you, right? One day I'm down at the pool. And so I pull up to the pool and I'm like, oh, because I used to see them all the time at the pool, like every weekend. But they always do everything together. Everything together. I love my husband, but I ain't trying to do everything with him. Please go off and hang out with your friends. I'm not a big fan of his friends. And I will hang out with my friends. You go off into the world and do your thing. I'll go off into the world and do my thing. And then we can come back together. You can tell me how your day was, and I can tell you how my day was. If we're together all day, you don't need to tell me nothing because I was there. This couple is like this. They are always, always together. So one day I go to the pool, and I know they have 2 cars, and I don't see their car. So I was like, oh, they must not be at the pool. So I sit up my chair, and I look up, and there she is with the kids. And I said, oh, where's your husband? She said he had to work today. And I said, oh, but I didn't see your car. She said, oh, yeah, he drove us over here and dropped us off. He's going to be home working on some spreadsheets and stuff. He asked me not to call him so that he could really buckle down and focus and get this work done. I was like, oh, okay, cool. So the pool opened at like 10 o'clock in the morning. She said when he's done working, you know he doesn't want to miss any family time. He loves family time. He's going to join us for dinner. Now look, the pool opened at 10 o'clock in the morning. He showed up around 6:30 or 7, right around the time for the pool to close. I know what kind of work he does. I used to be in the same field as him. Ain't no report alive that's going to take you 8 hours to put together. I was looking at him. Oh, he came in the pool. Oh, he was real happy. He was real. Hey, girl, how you doing? He was in the best mood ever. And I'm thinking to myself, what was he doing at that house all alone? He can't be disturbed. He dropped you off. He basically stranded you over here at the pool. So, you can't just swing on by the house. Oh, the kids left a flip-flop. She gonna run back over. She said he asked me not to call him so he could really buckle down and work. I know he was buckling down and working on what though? The amount of Clorox wipes I would need to clean my house after that. Girl, we know you got a lavender marriage, but your lavender marriage ain't none of my business. But I'm just saying. Aren't you supposed to, if you see something, are you supposed to say something? But you know, like I said, they real religious, sanctified. And so when the kids were little one day, we was talking about something just super random. And I said, well, you know, when we're old and gray and the kids get married, you know, they come home with their husbands or wives or partners or whatever. I said, listen, for me personally, I don't care who my kids bring home, as long as they're well partnered and they bring home somebody they love. So if my daughter brings home another woman, then child, that's just going to be my daughter. If my son brings home another gentleman, then that's just going to be my son, because that's how we roll at our house. These two. Don't put that curse over our family, because we believe in a traditional family, and we would not be happy if our child brought home a same-sex partner. Girl, I was thinking to myself, your husband probably got same-sex partners in your house on a daily, but okay. Okay, yeah, no, I understand people have different beliefs because y'all real sanctified and religious, but I wonder if this particular lady heard that podcast. Listen, denial is more than a river in Egypt, honey. You know, she probably listened to that podcast and was like, I'm glad my husband's not like that. Meanwhile, I'm looking at her husband and I'm going, beep, girl, beep. But you ain't heard none of this from me.